Hello and thanks for joining us on TVC Midday News. I am Abosedi Adenu. We are starting off with a no-fly life ban imposed by the airline operators of Nigeria on the passenger of Ibom Air, Comfort Emanson, for allegedly assaulting cabin crew of the airline. The association's spokesperson, Obiora Okonkwo, says the ban on Ms. Emanson from flying with any AON member, either domestically or internationally for life, takes immediate effect. He also says anyone who exhibits such behavior going forward would suffer a similar consequence. Part of the statement states this was not just disruptive, it was a sustained violent attack that placed the lives of crew, passengers, and the integrity of the aircraft itself at risk. This behavior is unacceptable, end quote. Comfort Emanson was consequently charged to court and remanded at the Kirikiri Correctional Center in Lagos. Just last Tuesday, Fuji artist Wasiu Ayinde, popularly known as K1 The Ultimate, was banned by the NCAA for 6 months over his unruly behavior at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. The ON says his ban remains. And in reaction, the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria FAN says increasing frequency of unruly behavior by some passengers at the nation's airports will not be tolerated because it is unacceptable within the framework of civil aviation. FAN has advised passengers to acquaint themselves with the passengers' rights and responsibilities and airlines' obligations, as published by the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority and their bylaws. The Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has condemned the public release of indecent video footage involving a passenger, Comfort Emanson, aboard an Ibom air flight. In a statement, Mr. Keyamo described the action as totally unacceptable and directed that the staff member responsible for leaking the sensitive clip be identified and sanctioned. While acknowledging that the footage was originally recorded as evidence to prosecute the passenger's unruly conduct, the minister criticized the circulation of portions showing indecent exposure, saying it amounted to debasing womanhood. For more on this controversial development of national attention, aviation analyst Chuks Iwelumo joins me here in Lagos State. Good to have you join us, Mr. Iwelumo. You know, some have made comparisons between this particular case and the one involving Fuji musician Wasiu Ayinde just last week. Are there really any comparisons, and what do you make of, you know, this rising trend?
Abosede, thank you very much for having me today. It's unfortunate that the aviation industry is being turned to motor parks. It's very, very unfortunate. We have annexes, we have guidelines, we have protocols in the aviation industry, unlike motor park, where anything goes. In the past 2 weeks, we have not been having it so good, despite all the things that are put on ground to ensure that aviation remains one of the best means of transportation. Well, the incidents you just referred to, you talked about AON, banning Emanson from flying. It's their right. They are the owners of the business. They know what to do. Anything that want to tarnish their image or bring down their business, they don't want it. Aviation is a highly regulated industry, and you cannot afford to joke with anything there. The issue is that so many things have happened. The first one happened in Abuja. Nothing was done. The second one happened again just 2 days ago, and all of a sudden, people started commenting. You see, the problem we have in Nigeria is that we don't obey rules. We don't obey our laws. That is the problem we are having in Nigeria.
In this particular case, Mr. Iwelumo, in this case now, I'm sorry to quickly come in there. You know, there have been questions as to the speed with which this particular case is being prosecuted in comparison with what transpired just last week. And beyond that, there are questions as to why there was no female official available, you know, while the lady was being told to evacuate the airplane. Also, were her rights, announced to her? Was she informed that this was being recorded and that, certain things could be done? Certain actions could be taken against her. Let's now return to our earlier conversation about the Ibom air incident. And aviation analyst Chuks Iwelumo is joining us. Mr. Iwelumo, earlier you were talking about the fact that we do not maybe obey instructions. We do not obey the law in Nigeria. But in this particular case, I was asking, and I would still like you to respond to that, about the fact that this was a female passenger. And then why was there no female security official on ground to handle the situation, to be in charge of that operation? And then, as the lady was, pulled off the aircraft, did it appear as though at any point her rights were announced to her and she was told what could become of the situation?
Well, that is where I have issues with them. I was expecting to see some female security AFSEC to handle the lady when they were bringing her out of the aircraft. Nevertheless, those security men they have been trained adequately to handle any unruly passenger on board or on ground. And exactly, it's unfortunate that the lady, the way she was handled out of the aircraft, exposed so many things about her, which is not so good. But outside this country, I remember when I traveled out, it was a lady that screened me from head to toe in China. It's only here that when they're about to screen passenger, they will start shouting, "You are screening a lady, a man is." But it's because of our culture. And that culture, most of these ladies these days have neglected our culture. And you see the way they are dressed. You see the way they dress. It's not
well,
what happened yesterday. Assuming that lady was well dressed, she would not have been exposed.
Mr. Iwelumo, when you bring up the issue, Mr. Iwelumo, if I may quickly comment, when you bring up, Mr. Iwelumo, the issue of dressing, you would realize that, eventually she got a jacket to wear. We do not know where that came from, whether it was hers on the aircraft or, the airport officials really got her, that we do not know. But should that be yardstick, for how she would be treated? And then secondly, someone must have definitely recorded that incident and then leaked it to the public. What do you say about that?
Exactly. Yes, the minister has handled that, and I'm happy that the minister has told them, Ibom Air, to get to the route and bring out those that did that video. Then talking about the jacket, if you board an aircraft and you are not wearing your jacket, you will put it up. Then when you come down, you will pick it too. But maybe she was not putting it on by the time she was in the aircraft. And when she was about to put it, that was when the incident occurred. But we don't actually know, we didn't hear from the side of the lady what actually transpired. We only heard about the side of the airline. Gave us details of everything, how she started, put off your phone. Nigerians, they exhibit ignorance anytime you see them. I'm sorry to say. If you board an aircraft, switch off your phone. You will see that by the time you tell them to switch off, that is when they know they want to call their relatives that they are coming. You have to do this. You see,
but Mr. Iwelumo,
you'll be ashamed.
All right, but we are where we are now.
Are copying us because we ask.
All right, so I was just saying that we are where we are now. What must we do at this time to ensure that there is adequate enlightenment to passengers, potential passengers, so one, they know their rights, and secondly, they know the standard procedure on board, within the airport premises, and so on?
Yes, Ambassador, thank you very much for this question. We have never had enlightenment like this in the NCAA until this management came. The management of NCAA, in fact, they are doing a lot of publicity, trying to enlighten the public. If you listen to the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, Mr. Michael Achimogu, you have social media, you see him trying to tell passengers what to do, what not to do on board. But do we listen? Do we read? If you enter an aircraft now, they are demonstrating. That is where you see that people are discussing. At the time there is emergency, they don't know what to do. But since Michael Achibobu came on board, he has tried to educate people, passengers' rights, what you are to do and what you are not to do. Go early to the airport. How many minutes before boarding time? But you see them 5 minutes to they are there when they want to board. It's not done. But I must give kudos to the minister, to the DGNCA, Fan MD, the woman in Fan, Mrs. Kuku. They are really trying. Since they came on board, the aviation industry have changed. Apart from these few things we are getting. But again, like a union called Association of Aviation Professionals, they are calling for change in protocol so that they will now know what to do. That is existing protocols as regards violent passenger behavior, so that they can protect the workers in the aviation industry. Because as it is now, anything can happen. You saw how the lady slapped that air hostess so many times.
All right, Mr. Iwelumo, thank you so much for,
we have to amend.
Yes, thank you for sharing your perspectives with us. It's really very important, that airlines themselves are able to manage crisis better and that they are able to also manage their own lapses, whatever might exist. Chris Iwelumo is an aviation analyst. Thank you very much for talking to us on TVC Midday News.